We didn't know how it was going to turn out because we weren't sure if like healthy young males were going to be dropping dead like flies and we were going to be in a zombie apocalypse before you knew it.
You know, having to drag myself out of bed every single day because there's no way that I could fail. I didn't have the choice because if I failed, that means I failed for my kid, and that's never going to happen.
Okay, it's halftime. Have to go to the locker room and face my team and what I just did.
Welcome to We Are Augusta, the Women's Financial Forum brought to you by Trajan Wealth. On this episode, we welcome Becky Kaiser, the Vice President of Corporate Partnerships for our local professional baseball team. Becky's experience runs deep at the intersection of sports, leadership, and marketing. Formerly the captain of her Florida State University Division I softball team, Becky transitioned into a successful career by utilizing her athletic prowess, her talent for producing meaningful partnerships, and her ability to perform under pressure at the highest levels.
I'm Jennifer Bennett, and I am joined by Marty Bryant, Blair Simmons, and our guest, Becky Kaiser. Welcome, Becky.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's a pleasure to be here.
So we have not only Becky as a powerhouse in a male-dominated world in sports, but Blair, you also were an athlete at a D1 university, and now you are also a powerhouse in a male-dominated world. So I feel very fortunate to be sitting with both of you on this panel today. This is exciting.
Marty. You're too sweet.
So Becky, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing, the influences you're having, what you're passionate about?
Absolutely. Well, I grew up in a very sports-dominated family. There were 4 children, and all of us played sports. And eventually, all 3 girls in the family were pitchers and also played first base in college. So it was nice that my family was able to experience the sport almost at the highest level, not professionally, but certainly playing at Division I at Florida State was just such an honor. And I wanted to continue that success in sports. But I knew that I necessarily didn't want to do it on the field. And as I was getting my degree in business, I thought, what if I could marry these 2 worlds that I'm super passionate about, which is sports and business. And through a lot of wonderful mentors and a lot of courage and effort, I've been able to kind of create a career out of it. So it's been tremendous.
Did you run into any instances where being a female kind of made a difference, good or bad?
Yes, but I think it's more about just learning where the opportunities are in sports and what your skill set is. I think a lot of us women feel like there are predetermined roles that are set up for us within sports. For instance, I wanted to be a sportscaster. I wanted to be on the field, reporting with the players. And once I started doing that in an internship that I had, I knew that wasn't my skill set. And so it was like, all right, let's reevaluate maybe and look for a new opportunity in another department that better fits my skill set. So like anything, it's about finding your way and finding what really you're passionate about and also what you're made for. I was lucky to have been exposed to a sales department from a television broadcasting team that I was enamored with, the energy, the excitement they had, the partner relationships they were creating. I wanted to do that. And so that's when I found where my passions and my skill sets were better served. So I do think it is breaking through those boundaries, but it's also learning about yourself and what you can contribute to the industry. Like any career is, you've got to reinvent yourself. You got to continue to learn. You got to align yourself with people who are smarter and more talented than you so that they can help create opportunities and continue to push you through. But it is a tremendous industry to be in because at the end of the day, we bring joy to people. They come to sports events to relax, to be a part of a community, to cheer on their favorite team together, their favorite player. It can get emotional at times. To be a part of something like that is just so special. And I get to call that my job.
Right.
So what a gift.
Yeah, when you do something you're passionate about, it doesn't feel like work.
No.
Yeah. And I think we're all sitting that together, right? We're all very passionate about what we do.
Yeah, definitely. Even though we're not athletes, we kind of approach our mental training in the same way as an athlete would. We try to. The idea is motivation is fleeting. Motivation is emotional. Motivation will serve you for a moment, but it's not going to be there every day to make sure that you force yourself to get out of a warm bed when it's still dark outside and it's cold and you don't want to get up out of bed. But if you do that enough days in a row, it's no longer something that you question. You're no longer having a negotiation with yourself on should I be doing this workout today? Like, no, that's what's on the agenda. That's what you're doing today. You create a game plan and you follow it and you stick to it. What's that like for you in bridging the gap between actually being an athlete and then being on the business side?
Yeah, I think what sports can do as an athlete is teach you that it is all about the preparation, mentally and physically. You lean on that. You're not nervous if you've done the reps, if you've taken the time to think about the situations of what you could be facing with the next batter, with the next out that you have to get. You're going through it in your head already so that when the moment does happen, it is happening the way you visualized it. I think that happens in business and in life too. You have to work to be prepared for the next big moment you're going to have. And it's the little things you do every day, the times that you don't want to get out of bed, but you get out and you do that run before breakfast, or the times that you really think about what is going to elevate my career to the next level and what is it going to take to get there. And I'm going to start establishing these daily habits every single day in order to get me there. Sports allows you to kind of have a job before you have a job. And you learn all those aspects of teamwork and how you can't be the only one on the field. You got to have 8 other players that contribute. So I love the alignment that sports has with business, and I think we can learn a lot from it. And there's so many sports books that relate business and sports together. I think it's a wonderful way to learn from those that have played at the highest level and can relate to business at the highest level too.
So let's turn it around now. We're talking about the positives. How does that discipline prepare you for the not so great moments, the ones where we're not always winning? Because, we're on a high when we're winning. And sometimes when we don't win or we hit a snafu or something affects us, that's where I think sometimes the rubber meets the road. So how do you prepare for that?
Well, I think, the way we're talking about how finances, when you said that about sports, I thought about finances and how when things are going really well, everyone's happy and we're in that high. But when things, hit the fan and we're not so great, and sometimes we lose control of our emotions. I think of the story of myself when I was coaching a freshman high school girls basketball team, and we were losing, right? Things were getting a bit shaky. The scoreboard was not looking good. And our most important player got hit really hard by the other team and kind of pushed down, and emotions got the best of me in that moment. And I ran out of my coaching box and I got my first technical as a coach. And immediately, in that moment, you have all of these emotions. Like you said, it can get really emotional and there's so much passion involved, and you really grow to care. Just like you care about your clients, you care about your players, and run out onto the floor, all a blur until that moment of, okay, it's halftime. Have to go to the locker room and face my team and what I just did. And of course, what was the best moment of that, and what I think is true of a client-advisor relationship, is that the relationship really comes together, not on the high moments, but when things are hard, when the market is down, when you have to have those real conversations, those grounding conversations. And that's what I found happened with my team. I apologized to them in the locker room, and I said, I'm so sorry, but instead of being shaken, I realized they were actually very grounded and felt like I was in it with them in that moment more than ever before. Emotion doesn't have to be a bad thing. And in finance, we coach our clients to say, hey, don't let the emotions get the best of you. It's not the time to sell. Fear makes us sell. We get stressed. We panic. But ultimately, that's the time where the preparation comes through. Emotion is okay, and it can actually be a really good thing if the preparation is there, if there's a plan in place. And that's what we practice for in sports. And that's what we prepare for through planning with finance.
When you're relating it to finances, you're going to have wins and losses. You're going to have investments that surprise you and are very promising. And then you're going to have other ones that you thought were going to win and they lost. And the game isn't over. But yeah, I think every experience you have, you build on it, whether it's successful or it's not. And you go, all right, I'm going to learn from this and I'm going to grow from it.
Even with your partner relationships that you're trying to develop.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, relationships come into play there. Communication come into play there. But you're not always going to hit, go 4 for 4 every game. You're going to have some that you swing and miss.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to work collaboratively on what happened and what are we going to do to grow from it. And I love that our game in baseball is all about numbers.
Right.
Right? That's the classic, book that someone's filling out during the game. You love to see that. It is about the X's and O's and the numbers. And business is a lot about that. Financial advisement is a lot about that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know your numbers.
So, Becky, I'm going to throw this one over to you because in one of your positions, you are a manager and there are people that you're responsible for who may or may not want to have to hear the hard conversations that you need to have with them.
Mm-hmm. That moment has to be one where there's trust shared between both. And that's where you get to be able to dive into the activity that might be contributing to their success or their failures. But trust has to be the core of it. And you also have to be very clear in how you communicate. I think there could be frustration on part of the player who is not hearing the message that's behind. You've got to make sure you rehearse it and that you are direct in that feedback, but also that you're going to help them get through it, help them learn about where they need to improve and help provide a pathway for them to be able to put the effort in to get to the goal that you want them to have. But it goes back to trust. And that isn't earned in one conversation. It is earned in a million different moments that you have with this person, whether it is on the field or it's off the field, it's before the game or after the game, before the win, before the loss.
Right. Have you had any moments where you had some tough love like that, just like in your face, kind of?
Certainly
giving or receiving.
Yes, in both ways. I think about the tough coaches I had growing up, and I'm thankful for them because when you're young, you absorb everything around you. And I think I'm very resilient like you are, obviously, from your experience. I'm resilient because of that tough love that I got very early on. I mean, at the end of the day, we wanted the same thing to happen, success.
Yeah.
So how do we get there next time? And I think your experience was perfect because you said, you know what, I am going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to be prepared and I'm going to have the right mindset and I know I can do this. I've learned so much from what the coaches shared with me after the game,
Absolutely.
And I want to take that every day and be humble with it as a leader too, because we've been in those experiences too, and not everything was a success.
Yeah.
And if you remember all the good stuff you did, you can't give a lot of that back. You got to give back the tough love too, like the tough moments, so that you can share them with your team.
I think that's where we do the most growth too. Is and I think by nature, I don't know if you're this way too. I think a lot of us by nature, we dwell on what we didn't achieve. And I think we give ourselves very little credit sometimes for the successes we have because we still have, something that might not have been successful at the back of our minds. But that might be that motivator too.
Do people need to feel ready before they act? Or does readiness come from taking action?
Well, I would say every team shows up for warm-ups, right? They don't just start the game when they walk into a gym or walk onto a field. You sometimes will spend an hour doing your reps again to get in that game mindset. And that's a physical thing as well as a mental thing. So I think it should be the same with business, right? Or any new challenge that you're going after in your life. You need to be thoughtful in the preparation that happens prior so that you are ready, even at halftime. Well, you think about it, there's some games that they have a halftime, football does. That's to reset and for the coach to readdress what's going well, what's not going well. What are we going to change and adapt for the back half of the game? That is where sports and business and life kind of align together. You got to show up early, get there before the game, get ready, and then at halftime you got to adjust. And it happens a lot more in baseball because you have an inning to do that. So you play offense and you play defense. You're thinking about that almost individually. Certainly you're having conversations with your coach, but yeah, taking the time out to pause also helps you get ready to reset again for what's coming up next. You don't have to get it all right the first time. You can adjust and still be successful.
I think that's an important point that you just made. You can still be successful, right? Even if there is a perceived failure, if you don't quit.
Yeah, like the story with my technical foul. Mentally, that felt like a failure in the moment. I thought I let my team down. They picked me back up. I picked them back up. We were losing. We won that game. That story ended well.
It reminds me of the concept of build the plane while flying, because sometimes things happen down the road that you didn't anticipate. So the ability to keep going while you're also evaluating and introspecting and trying to coach yourself almost sometimes too. I mean, you have to be able to coach yourself too, right? Remember the things that you learned from your coaches and then hear their voice in your head and say, oh yeah, I need to reel it back in and, whatever a specific thing is, do that thing.
But I like that analogy because it's like you have no choice. You better keep building. You better figure it out. You better put the pieces back together.
What if being ready is not about having all the answers, but about being willing to step into the game anyway?
Yeah, you think about being called into the game off of the bench, right? And whether that's for that final few seconds in the game and your job, your role, again, knowing your team players, knowing your clients, knowing your teammates and what their strengths and weaknesses are. So getting called in. You probably don't want to get called in the last few seconds of the game to hit that game-winning shot, right? But that's your role on the team. And so no matter how you're feeling, believing in the preparation that has occurred prior, believing in the plan, getting off the bench, running into the game, and doing your role and what you've prepared to do. So,
and my job was usually to hit the ball to the outfield, and they wanted me to bunt. I was like, what? But, I think there was a lot of honor in that where you're like, okay, they believe that I can do it.
Yeah.
And it was more important in that moment for the team to get the runner around than it was for me to get a hit somewhere else. Like the odds played to that favor. So I thought it was a risky call, but then of course it turned out. So I was like super excited about it. And it's kind of a fun story. Everyone could say, oh, I got a hit in the ACC championship, but I put that bunt down.
And you won.
And we won.
Yeah.
So I the game always gives you different scenarios, and there's risk taking, and there's same with finances, right? There's always risk taking that goes with it. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But you can't always prep for all of the moments, but you hope that you can be excited that they believe in you enough to jump out there off the bench and make the play that they're hoping.
You're ready to grip it and rip it and then hit
well, and probably why it worked.
Yeah.
Because everyone thought it was going to be.
Because they thought you were going to do it.
To the outfield, and
That's
they're like, no,
perfect.
sacrifice spot. Yeah. So.
I love that.
Yeah.
But then there's the giveaway with how you hold the bat last minute, right? Do you change? Or do you start with the bat? Like
No,
that?
because then they know.
Oh, no, this was.
They'll know.
Yeah, this was,
No, it's a secret.
Yeah.
It was a big fat secret.
But so you changed at the last minute, right?
No, I pulled it out. Yes, they did. I had the bat up, and they didn't know that I was going to bunt. So
She's a basketball girl.
Yeah, through and through. Yeah. So,
But when you bunt, it's because there's a couple of players that are already on base, which like maybe second and third. I don't know if they had both in that instance. Did they both run in?
Yes, we ended up scoring from it because they overthrew. So it was,
Which is what you're hoping for.
yeah, we caused chaos on the field, and they were out of sorts. sometimes you have to beat a team mentally, and that's kind of what that type of aspect was. Like the right job is to move the runner, and then let's see what happens. Maybe they make a mistake, and they did, so we ended up winning, which was really great.
Yeah.
It was do or die. It was either get the runs.
We could have had extra innings because we were tied, but by that gal scoring, we were able to win the game and win the title.
Strategy. Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, but guess what? That team practices now all the time. You will never be caught off guard again.
Well, you don't want to lose a championship game
To
on
a
a
bunt.
bunt.
Like, what
helped us keep going?
in moments of doubt? Marty never had one.
I totally did. I think we all have, right? But we've kind of talked about it before with my daughter. You know, after my business partner and I split, and I came down here and, you know, had to start all over again and rebuild.
Absolutely. That's what's made her so great. Those those types of challenges.
Yeah, it didn't have anything to do with, you know, being in the male dominated industry.
Yeah.
That we just grind through.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to take it as it comes, you know, just, you know, I've been in for so long, but I was going to the conferences where the good old boys were. I was exposed to areas like that, but you just power through it. You know, you just let it roll off your back, and don't let these guys see that anything affects you. And it usually didn't affect me because I'll just talk as much crap as they do. So, but it was, you know, having to drag myself out of bed every single day because there's no way that I could fail. I didn't have the choice, because if I failed, that means I failed for my kid, and that's never going to happen. I never wanted her to know that I was struggling when I was struggling. Yeah.
I think for me, one point during 2008 where it was just nauseating, like going through each day, grinding through the day, when all you heard from people was just grief, like just raw emotion of people who were hoping to retire soon and seeing their life savings get cut in half or more, quite literally. And I remember I had a mentor at the time who I really looked up to, and he was like, he had a comment of self-doubt, which he was joking, but we were talking about bringing in deals. And he was like, oh, yeah, bringing in deals, that's not something I do anymore, but that's okay. But he had a smile on his face when he was joking, but it was like, for whatever reason, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one that's had that thought, you know? Like, if he thinks it and he can laugh about it and we can all move on, like, it's okay. It's going to be okay in the end. Even though actually at that point it didn't feel like it would be okay in the end, because it just felt like we were falling in free fall with no net underneath us, because it was like October of 2008 and we were still nowhere near the bottom. We didn't know that at the time, but it just felt like that feeling when you're on the roller coaster and your stomach is going up and you're just like, woo, that's the feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Or in 2020.
Yeah.
You know, peak to trough to peak, it was only 28 days, but when it started, it really felt like an 08 scenario all over again, that it could have been an 08 scenario all over again. And I think that there were a lot of us who, you know, had some PTSD for that.
Yeah.
You know, in our position, and we have to remind ourselves, take the emotion out. You can't be emotional about it. It's not an 08. It's not a financial crisis. You know, it's not real. It wasn't a real fundamental event that was happening. It was a pandemic. It was something you can't plan for.
We didn't know how it was going to turn out because we weren't sure if like healthy young males were going to be dropping dead like flies and we were going to be in a zombie apocalypse before you knew it. That's how it seemed.
Your brain is so much fun. I never went to zombie apocalypse ever during COVID. That wasn't on my radar, but now I think I need to think about them a little bit more. I do play an online game. Did I tell you guys about this? Like when I was all alone in Tennessee last year.
Soldiers.
It was episode 1. Yeah. I've never played games. I've never been a gamer, but I was alone. I was by myself in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I found this online game. It was just like a shooting game at first, but it turns out it's called Last Z Zombie Shooter. And I'm now one of the most I have even more power. I'm so powerful in this game. But I play it, and I like those kind of games now. I mean, it's the one game, but I got through.
Don't downplay it.
I'm not. I actually have somebody playing it for me. So I have a guy in New Zealand who's playing my headquarters for me while I travel and do things, right? So that
this is very organized.
It is. It is. We've never met. He's just another player in the game. I have friends all over the world from this game. Yeah, Eb. You
got to do that or you lose.
Or I can't just sit
I don't
idle.
know from personal experience.
Whatever. Sounds like you do. I can't just put a bubble and just sit there.
One of the things I've noticed in sales that if we make it about us, then we're harder on ourselves. We're critiquing ourselves the whole time. We're in our own heads. If we make those moments about the person in front of us, then you're constantly looking for their cues. Are they enjoying themselves? Are they feeling like there's trust developing between us? Yeah. Is this person a good listener? Are we having a conversation, or are they presenting assets to me? Our job is to make sure that that moment is elevated for them, not for us. Like when you look back at that moment, you were in front of, that potential candidate for your business. It wasn't as much about you. It was about them and what they experienced. And if we can focus on them, then it takes down that evaluation of ourselves. Even on the coach side, the coach is looking at the person and going, are they enjoying this? Are we getting done what we need to? Or do they see the value that we bring to their life? Same thing with the team. Like it wasn't about me when I went up to lay down the butt. It was about the team, the team. And I didn't care that was what they needed. I thought it was great that I could contribute and that the team won. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Everybody's got a trophy to say, hey, we did that together.
Yeah.
That was just one play of the whole thing. But it was more about the team, not about us. Right. It takes the weight off of you. And you're looking for, I guess, that feedback from the person that is most valuable in the room, and it's not you.
Right.
That's a hard thing to tell people.
Exactly.
But it's so important as an athlete and an advisor or a business person.
Yeah. It's not about us. It's about, are we attaining and achieving the needs of the person to whom we're serving?
Thank you for being here today, Becky. It was so nice having you on the panel with us, and your conversation contributed a lot.
Thank you. It's a wonderful experience.
Thank you for joining us today. We are thoughtful. We are ready. We are Augusta.
I don't think they've stopped recording. I really want to see videos of outtakes at some point.
Yeah.
You have to put a movie together.
That'd be hilarious.
All right.
No, Bob got his shit together finally.